And now we are through the looking glass for the first time since this Vietnam War began. This is the hidden side of the moon. This is Hanoi, capital of the north of Vietnam, a place at war with the West. Nobody from the West had been there for years. It's simple enough, but look at it. One day we may have need to know. Somehow they let me in, I'm not sure why. In a way, it was a sort of dream. It had been such a long time. It wasn't easy to find one's way in every sense. It must be all of 12 years since I was here in Hanoi. And even at that time, so long ago, these people had been at war in one way and another for 10 years before that. There must be thousands of people in these streets today who have never in all their lives known one genuine day of peace. They fought the Japanese during the wartime occupation until the Japanese were driven out. Then they fought the French until the French were defeated too. And then came the Americans, and so it goes on. What nobody seems to be able to admit is that all these people want to be is Vietnamese. I used to live around here somewhere, not far away. In the old French colonial days, it was called the Maison de la Presse, one of those unreal establishments that exist in so many countries where the foreign correspondents roost like vultures on the sick beds of the world. In those days, we were waiting, although we didn't realize it, for the end of the French Empire, dying at a place called Dien Bien Phu. Hardly any of us had even heard of the place in those days. Now it's the name of the biggest thoroughfare in Hanoi. What used to be the Avenue de l'Être de Tassigny is now Dien Bien Phu Street.
By now, I was beginning to feel I was coming to terms with this damn television machinery. I had to brush up my brain a bit, since at that time there weren't helpful things like the auto cue. I had actually to know what I was talking about, or pretend to.
During the hours of daylight in North Vietnam, practically nothing outside the cities moves at all. Hardly a car, nor a truck, nor a wagon, almost nothing on four wheels. The land could be deserted, and indeed that is the idea. But come nightfall, everything comes from its hiding place and begins its dark and difficult journey on the roads. The trucks, the lorries, the batteries, camouflage crawling behind pinpoint lights, seeking the great defense of invisibility. In North Vietnam, as indeed in all Asia, the heart and substance of life is the harvest, the crop. The economy isn't complicated. They grow so that they shall eat. North Vietnam is not especially prolific. Nevertheless, it can produce 3 crops a year. It has, however, never been necessary before to bring in the harvest with a gun on your back. Now it is. Today, the gun is held to be as important as the reaping knife, a reluctant obligation. It's a farming cooperative called Tan Tru, just a bit outside Hanoi. It could be almost anywhere in Southeast Asia. The rice has been reaped. Now, it will have to be threshed on the foot pedal cylinders of the cooperative. But the difference, of course, is the rifles. Indeed, there is a war. But for a peasant country, there are some things that are obliged to transcend war, and this is one of them. That the ordinary processes of the land continue. For without that, how shall people live, communist or otherwise? This is frequently, I think, forgotten, that a farmer must, of necessity, obey the rhythm of the land, which isn't necessarily that of Washington, nor even of Hanoi. It is said that the Americans haven't sought to destroy villages nor to kill the innocent. Yet they do. For 1 second's mistiming of the bomb button, 1 moment of fear can bring random death to anyone. Not all bombs fall on bridges. Some fall near people. Some people had the misfortune to live beside bridges. Nobody in North Vietnam would do so unless they had to. There isn't always anywhere else to go. This is what it means to be part of somebody else's war. Deplorable things happen because of deplorable circumstances. It is a fact, and quite incontrovertible, that this is a bombed hospital. It was a tuberculosis clinic in Hanoi. Again, it happened to be in the bomb line of the bridge. It was blasted and destroyed. There are few enough hospitals in Vietnam. They don't have many to spare. There was, they said, no point in restoring it. The bridge is too near. You mustn't be ill near a bridge. It's getting dark now, but it's only after dusk that one can travel nowadays. The bay is, I think, the most spectacular piece of scenery in all Asia, if not in the whole world. The Bay d'Along, the Bay of the Descending Dragon, a labyrinth of islands and creeks and lagoons and channels, a set made by some mad oriental designer of seascapes. It's so weird and so beautiful that it's hard to believe that it's a setting for war and a focal point for war. That this neighborhood is in such a condition of military tension that this is the only direction in which we are supposed to point our cameras. Everything else is a matter of high military security. There are plenty of people to see that we keep our eyes on the scenery. But this is really bringing war into a setting of total fantasy. There's a condition of alert every morning here because beyond this pattern of islands, all the time, and at this very moment, lies the 7th Fleet.